Hi guys, a lot of news from Iceland. It's a little bit chaotic, I have to say. So things are not going super smoothly. The one good thing is the eruption has basically ended. If you're looking at the live cams, you don't see anything anymore. And they also have done aerial views and pictures, so that has died off, but not the consequences of that eruption and the lava flow that has caused so many problems and ripple effects over the whole Reykjavik peninsula. So it's been chaotic, from electricity problems, water problems, cold water, hot water, but also the backup pipes. So we'll get further into this. It's really, I mean, wow. So they need to get to a solution to have a backup system for their infrastructure, because this is not good in light that we know that the whole Reykjavik peninsula, the volcanic activity has woken up and will probably remain active for decades, maybe centuries, guys. So the Icelandic MET Office has released a new hazard map today. So the hazard map that they released right after the eruption has changed again, so they have lowered the threat levels. So this hazard map was released at around 3:20 today, and they're saying no volcanic activity is observed during a drone flight. So they're thinking the eruption is now ending, and no more seismic turbulences are being recorded on the seismometers either. So it's all slowing down. There are little changes since the last hazard assessment map, except for individual hazards within certain areas. So there is still a risk of gas contamination at the edge of the lava, but the risk of an eruption has decreased, and that's why the town of Grindavik is not red anymore. It's back to orange, but there is still definitely still a very, very high risk of crack movements. So let's have a closer look, because they outline that pretty good on that map. And guys, since we're in the middle of the video, could you do me a favor? Could you give this video a like, leave it a comment, and click the share button, and watch it till the end so that the algorithm pushes my channel a little bit and it helps against some hostile attacks. So that would be absolutely awesome. And I have attached some outtakes of Eddie, and it's quite hilarious what Eddie is doing when he all of a sudden saw me and his buddies on the big television screen. He was sitting on the couch, and then he heard something, because it was his buddies and himself barking in the background of my video. And then you have to see what he does. I have to say the television and the sound system did survive it, but my laptop barely. So stay tuned for that at the end. Thank you guys, and now let's continue with the video. Have a look at that map. So this is a satellite radar image, and that has been taken at roughly about 2:56 p.m. yesterday. And you see the blue area there. You see there is that little lighter area, that's Mount Thorbjorn, and then you see the blue lagoon, and that's the Swartsengi area, basically on the right edge of that blue circle there. And the black area, the very black area, is the current lava flow. The darker gray area is the old lava flow. And you can also see the lava flow from the January 14th eruption that is just little bit north of Grindavik. So this is interesting. What does that blue area mean? That blue area is land subsiding. So the land underneath the Swartsengi, and remember, the magma chamber is underneath the Swartsengi area, the magma chamber that kept refilling after every eruption or intrusion until it reached maximum capacity, and then we saw another eruption. So land has subsided in the Swartsengi area northwest of Mount Thorbjorn 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters. So that is a little bit more than in the last eruptions. So it did subside. Why did it subside? Because it was blowing up like a balloon, and then you let some air out of the balloon, right? So that's where the land subsidence is coming from, because magma was flowing out of that magma chamber, and it was flowing into the Sutnuka crater row where it was causing an eruption. So 10 centimeters in the Swartsengi area, and what we now have to monitor closely, will the magma chamber start refilling right away like it did after the last eruptions and intrusion on November 10th. So that's the interesting thing. So now they're having calculations done how much magma did flow out of that magma channel, and they're estimating that it was about 10 million cubic meters. So shortly before the eruption, they were thinking that we have about 9 million cubic meters in the magma chamber underneath Swartsengi. They were saying before the previous eruption, it might have been up to 13 million cubic meters. So I guess they were a little bit wrong with that, but quite accurate. It's very, very difficult. So 10 million cubic meters from the magma reservoir beneath Swartsengi that was flowing towards the eruption site. And the experts have said that we can expect eruptions like this probably once a month, with maybe shortening time frames between them, because if you look at between the last two eruptions until this one, we didn't even have a month, so the period became shorter. So maybe we're even having another one in February again, or very early March. So this remains to be determined, and it really depends on, once the new measurements are out, how much the land is rising again underneath Swartsengi. And remember, the more often it keeps rising and subsiding and rising and subsiding, the crust gets brittle, and magma is always looking for the way of least resistance. So with every eruption that we see, and with every refilling of that magma chamber, we're running into the risk that the surface on top of that magma chamber might get brittle and crumble and let the magma out there where the power plant and the Blue Lagoon are located. So it's a problem for that area for quite a while. Grindavik will be closed. They have some smaller roads around this, but if you look at the map here, you see along the coastline there's two roads leading in and out of Grindavik, but it's definitely a detour. So that Grindavik cannot be used is definitely not really great. They are having major infrastructure problems because of the lava that was flowing over the pipes. The southern Reykjanes Peninsula did not have heat for the homes or hot water. The Keflavik airport was without heat. The lava had flown over the pipes, and they were saying, well, they're hoping that they could repair it until Sunday. But now the problem is they had started to build some bypass pipes. When the eruption started, they were hurrying up like crazy, digging pipes in the ground. But what has happened? The lava was flowing over them. And imagine, guys, these lava rocks, it's a lot of weight. So the weight of that lava must have put too much pressure on the bypass pipes. So that is a problem. So the bypass pipe has broken under, basically underneath the middle of that lava field last evening, and so it doesn't carry hot water to Reykjanes anymore. So they're still, everyone's without, it's winter, it's cold, so people can't heat their homes. They say that preparations have begun for the installation of a new one, which may take a few days, and you can't just move hot lava. The lava will remain hot for quite a while. So the power company says that the possibility is probably that the pipes that were broken by the lava yesterday morning and late tonight. And they're also saying that the location is under the middle of the lava in a section where the lava is the thickest, so the most weight, and it is therefore absolutely impossible to start repairs there. So they have to definitely build a new one. And now here comes the ripple effect. They have already said yesterday, you won't be able to heat your homes and you won't have hot water, but please do us a favor if you have electric heaters, and they're all sold out. They're completely sold out. But they were saying, if you have electric heaters, please, 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 only one per household, because it will blow the electric grid. And they were saying, and if that happens, it will take several days until that is even restored. So then you have no electricity and no heat, no light, no nothing. And also now they don't have running cold water. So this is dire, and this shows how dependent they are on these geothermal power plants and their electricity grid as well. But where are geothermal power plants located? Well, they need volcanic activity underneath so that they can create that heat. And so that's why Swartsengi sits on top of that magma chamber, right? So what has happened? Of course, people used more electricity because you know how this is, right? So that's why the electricity supply system did exceed the tolerance in various areas of the Reykjavik Peninsula. So electricity did start to go out in various places. The power supply systems had reached their limits. So the electricity company HS Viter has sent out an announcement asking people to not forget that they need to save electricity as much as they can, or the system may crash completely. So there were partial power outages in Grindavik, in Sangerdi and Vogur due to these problems. And so they said it's very likely that this scenario will spread even further if action is not taken very quickly. And they were saying we can prevent this if residents work together. So it was very important for them to stress that the people need to follow instructions to minimize electricity use. And they said it's important, turn off your stove right after you're done cooking and stuff like this. Also, he said, remember, do not charge electric vehicles during these conditions. That's a problem too, right? Then you can't, if you have no vehicle charge and you have to evacuate because maybe another volcano is waking up, that is a problem. I'm not pro or against electric cars. I don't really care. The only problem I see with electric cars is that if everyone had one, the electric grids would probably blow everywhere. And the way how lithium is mined is something, you know, that people should consider. But, you know, in areas like this, having an electric car with an unstable electric grid, and probably you're better off with a gas car if you have to evacuate once another earthquake swarm comes or something. So I think they really need to invest in infrastructure backup systems. And because of all that mess, they have brought in diesel generators from out of the country. So, but imagine there's a storm going on or something is happening that these can't be transported to Iceland fast enough. People are freezing. So they have opened some shelters where there's heat and people can go there to warm themselves up. But, you know, this is not good. And they said, if there is a general strike to the electricity system because of people using too much, the power outages could last for several days. And that is really a problem because the pipe repair for the hot water will also take several days. So they were able to restore electricity in some parts of Grindavik. So that is good. And, you know, the work is still underway to bring electricity everywhere. But while they were working on that, the news came out, the bypass pipes are broken. And so it's not really a great situation, and we will have to see. I really, really hope they don't run into further roadblocks with their infrastructure system. And I hope that this is a warning shot that they will start to protect their other power plants, and also maybe have lines from other power plants like cross connect, so that if one power plant has a problem and fails, you can connect to the next power plant. Because especially in the winter time, this is really something I see as a very, very big problem. So yeah, guys, that is my update for now. I'll definitely update you if there's new developments. I'll update you about how it's going with the residents going back to Grindavik. I hope nothing will happen. I hope everyone will remain safe. I hope that there are no hidden new cracks. You've seen my video about the indoor soccer sports arena. It wasn't visible. There was artificial turf on top of it. So very dangerous. So let's hope nothing has opened underneath the main roads. So they had teams in there just on eruption day to check whether the earthquakes had done some more damage. The earthquake swarm was small, so hopefully not. I'll definitely keep you updated about that. So thank you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for your support for my channel and for sending me supers and for supporting my farm and my animals on buymeacoffee.com. You guys, you are awesome, and thank you so much. And now at the end, as promised, here is Eddie, how he reacts to seeing me or himself in one of my videos on television. So check that out, and bye-bye.